Hello guys, it's Planners again, and today I'm going to steer a bit away from the usual tutorial stuff I used to make and just going to tell about a couple stories that happened to me, and I hope you enjoy. For today I selected three engagements. The first two engagements are going to see the heavy use of ECCM and a way on how to counter some Falcons. And for the third engagement, I stumble upon a group of sniping ships and I try to find a way to kill them. Okay, so the first engagement was actually extremely funny for me. I decided to make a suicide run and at the same time take something with me. I knew that a particular group of players were camping a gate with three falcons at the very least and a couple sabers. This particular time they also had a Talos. So bottom point, I was not gonna come alive from this one, but I want to give these guys a good surprise. You will also notice there is a Dominic's Navy issue, and in fact all these guys decloaked for the Navy dummy in order to gank it. I saw the opportunity to also jump in and try to just make some damage. As a quick note on the ship I'm using a Algos. I loaded my mids with two ECCMs, overloaded them from the start. On my loads I also put some ECCM mods, backup arrays, and a 400mm plates. Basically I need some tank, some damage, mostly in the form of drones, and we're set to go. As soon as I'm decloaked, even though I am overloading my CCM's mods, and that brings me to about 85 census strength, more or less, I'm still jammed in the very first cycle, so stuff ain't looking very nice for me, but I decided to keep on. There is no turning back from this one. At this point they are pretty much ignoring me. I am not a threat. I see that my drones started to go after one saber automatically, but the saber is burning away, so it's just gonna run. Soon enough I managed to get my lock back. I target the only saber that is really on my scram range and kill it. As soon as I kill the saber, the Navy Dominix is free and he starts to micro drive back to the gate. After all, being in the midst of three falcons ain't a good spot. Well, at this point I've already accomplished my mission by killing a saber. These sabers are actually faction fitted, so they are worth like 130 mil, something like that. And right now what I want to is still kill the pod. The Navy Dominix is jumping out, so their full attentions will be drawn to me. If it were only the one other saber, I would probably be okay, but with the Talos on grid, well, that will be too much for me. But anyway, I don't really think it's every day you can say that jumped into a gate camp with three falcons, saved a Navy Dominix from certain death, still killed a 130 mil saber and something like an 80 mil pod, making a total of 200 mil kill, all that using a Tech 1 destroyer. Just remember guys, Eve pretty much offers you the chance of countering almost anything, but at the same time you also have to think somewhat outside the box and use some options that will be less orthodox. And yes, you'll get trolled when you die. For the second part, I'm going to tell you guys about a tale, and this tale is on how sometimes you encounter random players several times, and how you create your own story on a very Eve fashion. Well, our tale begins with me running around on my trusty Harpy in Syndicate. We actually were in vacations there for some time, from propagation from curse, and I see a saber on the gate. I pretty much call a saber a juicy breakfast when I'm flying on with my RP, but unfortunately this particular guy had a mate or an alt with a falcon. Uh, well, you guys pretty much know how that ended, right? But this is pretty much the first time I met this particular guy. Now, even though I died a slow, painful death, I did got some intel out of this. I was able to shoot at the saber like 2 times, and by shooting only 2 times, I was able to put him in armor, thus telling me that the saber has absolutely no tank. He's making full faith on his falcon mate. Sometime after, I got word that the same guys were active nearby, doing the same stuff, baiting with the saber and jamming with the falcon. So I decided to go with a treasure this time. I was somewhat limited to the local market. I could not pick what I wanted. The ECCM treasure is maybe not the best choice, but hell, it's what I had, so I went with it anyway. Also, you gotta take in account that if you bring bait too powerful, like a battle cruiser, like I don't know, prophecy, there's a good chance the saber and the falcon won't even decloak for that solo target, because something can go wrong easily. A thrasher, a tech one destroyer, even a tech one cruiser sometimes is good enough. Okay, basically I jump in. You will notice that the saber is not burning directly at me, he's reapproaching gate. And the reason is his falcon is not in the system. Actually, the new gate flash is the falcon jumping in, and the saber is just waiting near the gate for the falcon. Okay, falcon decloaks, is going to try to jam me. Okay, nice. The falcon has actually failed to jam me in the first cycle, but the saber did not even realize it is something that guy is doing so automatically. Jump in, decloak falcon, jam the target, aggress with the saber. He didn't even notice it. He failed to jam me. That's something he probably did not expect it. Um, right now I'm also aggressing the falcon, and I'm hoping it was shield fit, but it ain't. It's armor fitted. I got the wrong ammo, I got the MP ammo, and the falcon jams me. Now, this is actually interesting because the falcon is pretty much ignoring me. He's looting the saber, he's salvaging the saber. Well, this is kind of frustrating because he does not realize me as a threat, and he's actually doing a very good job keeping me jammed the next following cycles. But more or less at this point, I start to find all this a bit fishy. I mean, okay, he has already looted and salvaged, is approaching gate, but he's still aggressing me. Um, what the hell is the guy doing there? So right now I press scan to see if anything is approaching, uh, and this guy now is playing bait. Okay, right now there is really no reason for him to just be there, um, but I'm curious to know what he's gonna bring, so I play along. I just hit scan over and over again. Um, if it's something like a saber, I can probably kill it again. Um, if it's something bigger, I'll just have to go away. Now, most times people like to ship up when they die, so I'm really not expecting for him to bring anything soft and squishy, but hey, I'm still curious. One more click on my scan, and yeah, a hurricane. Okay, time to bail. Anyway, this hurricane is still going to play an important part in our tale. On the next part I really did not fraps it, so I'm just going to use my amazing paint shop pro skills. So yeah, bear with it guys. Anyway, a couple days later I see the Saber pilot in my local and I try to find out what he's in. He's actually on a Vagabond warping station at zero. His Falcon mate or his Falcon alt is not in local, but I'm pretty sure he's just like one jump away. So, time to play bait again. I undock my trusty Vexer. Right after I undock, I just overload my micro drive, I overload my scram, and I try to catch the Vagabond as fast as possible. The Vagabond pilot pretty much lets himself be caught. I'm pretty sure he could easily kite me at range, and he just chose not to. Even though I managed to get a scram on him, he was hitting me pretty hard. A Vagabond is still a respectable foe, even if he scrammed. He was also looting me real hard, so I had to cheat. Sorry about that. I had to undock my Augurer. I waited until I was really into low armor, because the sooner I undocked my Augurer, the sooner he would bring his Falcon mate. But if I had not bring remote trap, I would have lost this engagement, that's for sure. Of course, as soon as I undocked my Augurer, the Falcon pilot also jumped into local and tried to warp in, but he was still a bit far away, and as soon as he reached the grid, the Vagabond blew up. All these events created a somewhat misleading kill mail, and this is the real shame about kill mails. They never show up the real story behind them, so it's just a record of a ship blown up, and there is so much more to it. Anyway, I thought this was over, and a couple minutes later I undock, and this guy has not given up. He's actually very, very tenacious. And this time he has right on the undock of the station a Hurricane. I suspect it's the same Hurricane he tried to kill my ECCM Thrasher a couple days ago. So, he has a Hurricane and a Falcon. I I really want to kill the Falcon and hopefully also the Hurricane, but mostly the Falcon. So I cannot use this. I cannot use the same tactic. I cannot use the combo of a cruiser and a remote trap. I will just get jammed to death. Okay, so please bear in mind that I was in syndicating vacations. I did not have my usual ships there, so I had to work with I have, and I had the armor stabber that I decided to refit. I refitted an armor stabber I had with a couple of ECCM in the mids and also a couple of ECCM backup arrays in the lows. You can see that while the CCMs on the mids are overloaded, I can get like 120 sensor strength, something like that. As for the second ship, I decided to use a Thorax. The advantage of the Thorax over the Vexer is that it can field ECM drones and still get a good punch. The Hurricane, I knew it was actually a shield Hurricane. The shield Hurricane was 0 on the undock, so I could easily orbit him and put the drones on top of him and also still shoot him in the face. That's why I used the Thorax instead of the Vexer. So, okay, when I undock the Thorax, the fight is already underway. I'm already engaging the Hurricane with my Fleet Stabber, and right now I'm gonna pause a bit. Okay, just some quick notes about my Thorax. I'm only using one ECCM, and the reason is it's because I did not have any more. If I had more, I would definitely replace the web for the second ECCM. The second comment I'd like to make about my Thorax is way more serious. I have null loaded. I have realized I had null loaded, and for this situation you don't want null, you want antimatter or void, whatever. But since I was dual tabbing, my attention span on each client it's way worse. So I right click it, I look at the ammo, and I did not saw the freaking Kaldari nor Void. The only thing I thought at the moment was, why the hell do I only have freaking null on this ship? Of course, this lack of awareness on my part plays an important deal in the outcome of this engagement, as you can imagine, but it's the, let's call it the price for dual tabbing. Awareness way lower, and it really damages the game experience up to some part. Okay, yes, you can do amazing stuff with two tunes, but you also lose focus and you also lose the the enjoyability of a fight. So okay, go ahead. Troll me whatever you need to troll me about on how I did not saw ammo, the proper ammo that was right in front of my eyes. And once you have finished it trolling on how dumb I was, we shall move along, okay? Okay, as soon as I undock with the thorax, the Falcon pretty much insta jams me. Um, Even though I had one ECCM on the mids overloaded and one ECCM on the lows, it really did not help much. Honestly, I think it's a waste to just use one or two slots for ECCM. In order to be truly effective, I think you really need to use like 3 slots. ECM is so powerful these days that you only using one or two is almost a waste. Anyway, I changed a bit the perspective here, and as you can see on the left, the purple square there, it's my stabber. As soon as I had undocked the thorax and managed to get the scram on the hurricane, I sent the stabber burning with my co-op drive overloaded into the Falcon. I can also say that I already knew that the Falcon was an armor Falcon, so in the stabber tune I actually changed it to the proper ammo. Right now the Hurricane is also jammed. My ECM drones are having a good effect on the Hurricane, so I cannot really complain about how unlucky I was with my ECM drones. Right now you can also see the ECM drones that belonged to the stabber going to the Falcon. That is because the Falcon had also jammed my stabber, and I think I needed some backup on top of the Falcon. And the fight between the Thorax and the Hurricane, it's real close. I would have probably won if I had chosen the proper ammo. I didn't. The Hurricane killed my Thorax so well. I warp off my pod, and even though it does not shown, I can tell you that I killed the Falcon. Still, the fight was not yet over. After I killed the Falcon, the Hurricane tried to kill my stabber, and I was already in bad shape, so I whooped off with the stabber. I brought back planners that had been on the thorax and went to chase the Hurricane. The Hurricane is aligning out to some celestial, and I am trying to cut his orbit by manually piloting, and at the same time trying not to burn my micro drive. I'm also making a huge huge mistake by not overloading my scrandom and web. So when actually I need them, I mess up. All the clicking in the mods and shift clicking in mods to overload them confuses me because I'm trying to do it in the very last seconds. And really, instead of activating my scram, I deactivate the overload even though he was in my range. I actually had a lot of adrenaline at this time. I had just had a great fight, and everything was like a big blur to me. But yeah, huge mistake there. Anyway, this was the last we meted. We came back to Curse, and that was it. Just one final story before going away. I know it's becoming a big episode, but I was moving my Sinovault when we were leaving Syndicate, and I had just happened to stumble upon this gang. And these guys are two Taloses, non-aligned, moving at zero speed, waiting for something to land on a bubble so that they can snipe them. These are sniping rail-fitted Taloses at zero speed, not aligned. They are just asking to be killed. I was able to easily probe these guys with my low-key Sino tune, and right now I feel like children in the candy store not knowing what to choose first. As for the plan, I just decided to bring a couple of Tech 1 cruisers, the Vector and the Thorax. They would definitely see me approaching on scan, but I doubt they would move just by seeing me on scan. After all, they want prey to land on their bubble so they can snipe it. They would probably think, oh great, the Thorax and the Vexor and scan, they land on the bubble, we'll snipe them. And hopefully, because they're not aligning nor moving, they're just sitting there at zero speed, I can easily catch them when I leave warp. Okay, here we go. As suspected, the first Talos is an easy prey to get, and as soon as I managed to get Scram and Web with the first on the first Talos, I send my Thorax micro driving towards the second one. Oh, but he bails. I was not able to get two of them. Oh well. There's really not much to say here. The Talos has no chance, especially at Sniping Talos. The Sniping Talos has ECM drones, but with two ships squamming him, no chance. And the Thorax warps down. This is a desperation move, and this is something that happens a lot in a situation where players are not expecting something to go wrong, and they either jump or aggress or warp, just making the situation even worse, most of the time suiciding themselves and any mates that are with them. Well, Thorax dies, I start looting the field, and the real funny part is that a couple minutes after, the Talos that had escaped lands on its own bubble. And by sheer dumb luck, the Vexor was still in warp range. The Thorax actually wasn't, but hey, let's go down to the bubble, overload all the mods. This guy is going to try to escape. He's already gaining XP, 900 meters per second, and for some reason it changes the alignment. I believe he was going some wrong alignment and he decided to change. That broke his momentum. Also, another problem here, I orbit him, and for some reason my orbit is set to 30 kilometers. What the hell? I don't even know. Don't ask me why the orbit on a Vexor is 30 kilometers, but I start to go away, and when I notice it, I had to burn back to him. So I burned back to him, warped down the Thorax too, but fortunately he did not realize he was not scrammed, that he could just warp away. I pretty much got very lucky on him landing on his own bubble and not warping off. I actually talked to the fellas a bit, and they were a bit bored on high sec, decided to come camp the bubble a bit. They got a bit weary on the Senecia on my tune, but did not expect me to get the warping on them. In the end, it was all cool. They had some excitement there, and don't forget, this is Eve. If something can go wrong, it will go wrong. And yeah, hopefully I'll be there to make sure that your end of the game goes wrong. See you next time. I hope you enjoyed.